Good evening, everybody. It's me, Mitch, and that's such nice music. I hate to turn it off. I love it. I love it. Oh, yeah. So how's everybody tonight? Well, I guess I better do away with the music. So how's everybody doing tonight? Good to see you all. And wow, 60 of you right at the starting bell. What debate, he said. I don't know if I'm going to be more aggravating to watch than the debate. I doubt it. I think everybody could save themselves an awful lot of stress screaming their guts out at the TV, no matter which side you're on. I mean, there's going to be something in there to upset virtually everybody on the planet. And then, after the debate, we can all tune in, and we can listen to all the talking head experts tell us that we really didn't hear what we thought we heard. They'll tell us what we really heard, and we're just not smart enough to interpret it the way they did. And this argument will go on for days. I don't know whether it's healthy to divide our country so on everything and then subject us to months and months of what amounts to a weaponless civil war up until an election. I don't know if there's a better way or not, but anyway, we're going to try to have some fun here. We're going to try to have some fun here tonight and talk to each other. You know, I watched this chat go by. I watched the chat go by before the stream starts, and you guys start chiming in about quarter till. And I say to myself, if I didn't show up, I wonder if these guys would even miss me. I mean, I would hope so, but... So I hope everybody's okay. I hope everybody's having a nice Tuesday. I spent time today working on my new series I've been talking about, Old Carnivore's Guide to the Carnivore Lifestyle. Working on Chapter 1, the introduction. Started early this morning, about 7 o'clock, out on the back porch, filming my morning coffee. Been a long day, and here I am, 8 o'clock tonight, sitting here. Seen a lot of familiar names go by. My disclaimer, of course, you know, but I'll say it real quick. I'm not a doctor. I don't give medical advice. I'm not a licensed dietitian. I don't give nutritional advice. I tell you my story, even though I kind of explained that this morning, if you saw my morning coffee. I explained, Boyd Lamb's Chapter 1, I was born a poor Jewish black child. Oh, how did you know? How did you know? I think I may have even said that at one point somewhere, buried in those 400 plus videos. Oh, I know where I said that. I was on an interview with somebody. Well, let me finish a disclaimer. Anyway, I tell you the story of my life. I tell you what I do. I tell you what it's done to me. You can extrapolate that out from there. If you want to do it, it's totally up to you. End of disclaimer. I think it was on one of these interviews where the first question they always ask you is, tell us your life story. And right in my mind, I went back to an old Bill Cosby routine where he started off with the line, I was born a poor black child. Or was that Steve Martin? Man, it might have been Steve Martin, come to think of it, who said that he was born a poor black child. And maybe that was from that movie where he was raised by a black family. But those were the first words that came out of my mouth. And I wish I remember which one of the interviews it was I was on, but her jaw went kind of. Boyd probably remembers that. I don't normally do it right away, but I saw a question go by, so let me stop real quick and answer that. From Janice Childers' question, I've been on carnivore for 5 months now, just got my full labs done that Dr. Berry recommended. Everything turned out great. Total cholesterol is 400, not worried. My ketones were 1 plus. That doesn't seem to be a question, but that's okay, and that's fabulous. That's fabulous. Your total cholesterol is not quite as high as mine, but hang in there. It might get better. Might get better. That's not what you normally hear about a 400 cholesterol number. Mine is pushing 500, I think, because my LDL by itself is 340. But sounds great, Janice. Congratulations. It sounds like you're doing great. As far as your ketones, you know how I feel about ketones. I don't worry about them. I don't count them. If you're not on a keto diet, if you're not eating any carbohydrates, your ketones have to pretty much take care of themselves. There's nothing you can do about it anyway, if you other than take endogenous ketones, which I don't know. I don't think the cavemen had them, and if they managed to survive without them, I think we probably can too. And I'm surviving perfectly well without knowing where my ketones are at any given instant of the day. And I don't care. And I'm not alone in that. Many of the other prominent carnivore YouTubers, not keto YouTubers, whole different story if you're keto. You insist to keep eating carbs, yeah, then those carbs are going to affect the level of your ketones. But if you're not eating any carbs, save for the traces that come with the meat that we can't avoid, your ketones will take care of itself. 1 plus means you're basically in ketosis. If they got up to 20, I might start worrying, but very good, very good. Let me before I start saying hello to everybody, let me get a little channel business out of the way. We are planning, and I misspoke the day. I made a correction and misspoke the time. I corrected my correction this morning to make sure everybody gets the word. And I got a number of comments from people who were telling me, I made a mistake. You said 11:30 p.m. Well, if you want to show up at 11:30 p.m., assuming I didn't make a mistake, see you there. Tuesday, September 24th, at the Terra Gaucho Brazilian Steakhouse on Dale Mabry in Tampa. We have a meetup. Michael Shelley put it together for us. I delegated it to him. He has lost his mind. I say he's lost his mind because I've gotten 3 or 4 emails from him already today. He sent me this email showing me what the actual private meeting rooms, and if we have less than 30 people, we probably get this meeting room. We can have up to 50-something people, and we can get this meeting room, the big one. I don't know what's going to happen if we have 100 people, but the way Michael's going, I wouldn't put it past him. He informed me that Robert Kiltsy, Dr. Kiltz, is going to be there. He informed me that Dr. Annette Bosworth, Dr. Boz, most likely will be there, although she said she's going to be fasting. My advice to Annette Bosworth would be, take a day off from a fast. You're going to a Brazilian steakhouse. and a few other people whose communities he's active in. They've also been evidently publicizing it on some of the channels of those people, and I think he said or indicated that some of their people may also I have no idea how many people are going to show up. I've gotten RSVPs so far from 5 of you, and I'll be passing these numbers on to Michael so he can let the restaurant know. And as we get closer, because we're still a good 2 weeks away, it's going to be 2 weeks from today, we'll come up with a final number for this thing. And I know this is kind of a thing for our community, and I know it's going to feel like we've been invaded by everybody else's communities, but I think it's great. I think it's great. I just hope somebody actually recognizes me when I'm there. And I don't just get lost in the crowd. I don't think that'd happen. I think it's going to be something. And then towards the end of the month, I'm working on one, and I'll be making announcements about that pretty soon over here in Melbourne at the Brazilian Steakhouse. I don't know how many YouTube celebrities I'm going to have here, but I'll be there, and hopefully we can get some people to come up from South Florida, from Daytona. Maybe Rosie can make it. So we'll see. Mark Davis says the debate is not till 9. Well, okay, that explains why I have some people, but I don't know if I have the number of people I normally have, but I never expected to have a huge turnout unless people just get tired of watching that silly debate and say, what else is on? So that's the announcement. I saw Michael. I don't know if you're here right now. I saw you at United Carnivore is his channel, and I saw he'd posted something earlier. So I'll keep an eye out for you in the chat as well. Okay. Let me get rid of this, and hopefully, I'm pushing for tomorrow afternoon, but more than likely it will be Thursday afternoon. I'll release chapter 1 of my new series. It's just going to be an introduction to me and what's going to come in the series. The introduction to me, I kind of rehearsed this morning on my morning coffee. If you noticed, I started a little different. I introduced myself. I told a little bit about my story, the philosophy of the channel. I may, because I think that came out pretty good, I may just actually use that footage, because I've made 420 videos in 13 months. Some of the stuff that I did in those videos came from somewhere that I still marvel at, and I think it was very well done, and I may use some of that footage. I don't think that's cheating to use my own words and my own footage in this series. But I may end up using that opening, first couple of minutes of that opening from my live stream. I haven't decided yet, but that's coming in the next day or two. Besides my morning videos that I do every morning, and I'm enjoying the hell out of them till I run out of stuff to talk about, which hasn't happened quite yet. I'm going to put out a video kind of spotlighting my best and most popular recipe videos. It's those videos that, compared to the viewer count that I normally get on my daily stuff, some of those recipe videos have got, one of them's got over 200,000 views. they regularly get up into the 70, 80, 90, 100,000 view range, which for my little channel is amazing. Recipes like my frittata, the chuck steak one that I did. There's going to be like 5 or 6 different, what I think are my best recipe videos. And I'm going to make a dedicated video about them where I'll showcase a little bit of each one of the videos and then put links to all of those videos down in the show notes. I also have, in case you didn't know, I have playlists on my channels, and a lot of people don't really use these playlists. This is the homepage, the front page of my Old Guy Carnivore channel. They start with a recommendation for you on the top line. Then every one of the videos I've ever made you can find by just clicking here on videos. If you want to watch 420 videos, click play all, buckle up. But you can click videos here and it'll just keep listing them all from the newest to the oldest. You can sort them any way you want, but these are, and it drives me crazy when I go back through and scroll down and look at the number of thumbnails. It's crazy. Look, it just, and these are not my live streams. These are just my videos. And I was looking at this today, and between you and me, I don't even remember making half of these videos. Here's one I like. You can't fix stupid. Carnivore over keto. Too expensive. Failed. I can help. Cheap carnivore. What now? Must watch. My 18-month carniversary. So far, I think I've scrolled back about 6 months. Yeah, I'm down to about 7 months old. So these are all there, and they were all good. Some of them got a tremendous number of views. When you do this, here's when Jimmy Buffett died. And I made a video about that. I was shocked that morning when I woke up. Anyway, they're all there, and you can click the playlist tab at the top, and these are all the different playlists I have. Morning Coffee with Mitch, my most popular videos, all of my vlogs, including the Monday morning ones, cheap carnivore meals and shopping, all the live streams I've ever done, some of my, what I consider my best rants, cooking carnivore style. And that's where you find all the recipes. Anyway, I think that I'm going to be using some of the footage from some of those videos in this new series. I'm going to be referencing a lot of those videos in this new series, but each one of the chapters in this series, and so far I've defined about 14 or 15 of them, but I know there's going to be more. It's going to be on a separate subject, and I deal with that in my intro. So look out for that. Look out for a kind of small compilation of my restaurant recipe videos. Okay, let me start saying hi to people. I see Mark Davis has a question, and he gave me a super chat, so I have to scroll all the way down to the bottom here, and I want to acknowledge that. Thank you. Thank you, Mark, so much. And I finally used my Mark Davis smoker, you know the story about that, the other day, and that food came out great. I have already eaten half, 2 servings of the salmon and 2 servings of the ribs, and I actually, if you remember if you saw the video, I actually put 2 servings of each away, as well as the extra pork I cut off the ribs in the freezer. Did you eat the smoked salmon skin? I did. I bought the canned salmon since you reluctantly pushed it on me with your advertising about you use your links to make some income, which I agree with. It's still your fault, though, LOL. Thanks so much, Mark. I appreciate that. And I always feel a little self-conscious mentioning that, but I have to. It's what I do in lieu of allowing YouTube to pepper my live streams and videos full of mid-roll ads. And I just beg your indulgence. I just, like everybody else on the planet, I'm trying to make a living too. So I beg your indulgence if every once in a while, and I don't do it that often, I mention my Amazon page on my website with links to all or most of the kitchen gadgets I use, the pantry items, the canned fish, the pork rind crumbs, all that stuff. And it's on there. It's at oldguycarnivore.com on the stuff, links to stuff I use page. And that's as much advertising as you're ever going to get from me. And I hope it's a net positive for you that I do the best I can to keep you from having to be interrupted every 3, 4, or 5 minutes with an ad for God knows what. I have no control. I know they're advertising drugs. I know they're advertising garbage food. I know that political parties that I don't agree with are probably running political ads on top of my videos. That adds insult to injury. So put up with me mentioning my little Amazon thing. I really appreciate it when you use it. That's what enables me to make a living doing this, not the ad revenue from ads I don't run from YouTube. One thing I might mention, if you use one of my links, this is the good part. If you use one of my links and you decide, well, I'll buy this another time. If, while you're at Amazon, and Amazon knows that pretty much I brought you to the dance, if you go and buy something else, they pay me a commission for that. So if you go to the Amazon page to buy something from mine, maybe a $3 thermometer or something, and then you go on and do your week shopping on Amazon, doesn't cost you any extra, but they pay me for bringing you to the party. I think that factor alone is what makes it possible for me to earn enough to keep doing this without having to spend the time elsewhere where I can make a living for myself. Thank you for putting up with that, letting me tell you about it. There are a couple other ways while I'm on it. Any excuse to be mercenary. There's a link in the description to buy me a coffee. Anytime you feel like, wow, Mitch, I really would like to give you a tip. Hell, the guy brings me my car from the parking lot. I throw him a couple bucks. The little girl behind the counter at Starbucks makes me 1 cup of coffee. I throw her a couple bucks. You, my friend, with your advice, have saved my life. Let me throw you a couple bucks, too. You know, I was thinking about that this morning. I get 2,000 views. Listen to this. This is crazy. This goes to show you how few people actually use those. And those of you who do, I love you for it. I appreciate it. And some of you actually give me multiple cups. 3 cups, 5 cups, $15, $20. Those are great. Google doesn't take a share of that money. But if everybody that watched my morning, and this will never happen. I mean, I know it'll never happen. I don't expect it to happen, nor would there ever be a way for me to make it happen. But think about how much money good old Mitch would make if everybody once a week who watched my morning coffee videos threw $1 at me. $1 a week. Think about that. That would be 2,000 views on average. That'd be a couple grand a week. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Right now, I'll be honest with you, I average between $50 and $100 a week from that buy me a coffee thing. And I appreciate every bit of it. But I understand it's just not on people's minds. But those things are there if you feel the burning need. If I've done something, and that's the key. I don't want anything if you don't think I've done something that's worth something for you. That's why those things are there. So, enough said. Sorry about that. Let me know if you'd rather see the YouTube ads, and I'll shut up. All right, how we doing? Have I scared everybody away? No, we got over 100 people. Good deal. Okay, we'll start out here with Texas Tom's Shaving Tips. How you doing? Gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much, Tom. And you also said something before that. You said, I may not be able to watch this stream while it's live. It's my sister's birthday. We're going out for a nice steak dinner. Well, wish your sister a very happy birthday. If you get this message when you are watching the replay, I hope you do. Make sure you wish her a happy birthday for me. And thank you so much for the 5 memberships. They were gifted, and YouTube determines who gifts them. Tony L., James Ailes, Snow Sea, Dancing Dragonfly, and Kathy Houston. None of those names do I recognize. I don't know where Google gets them. But you've got free 30-day memberships on Texas Tom. Come in on Thursday night, watch the private community live stream, join in the chat if you like. If you think it's worthwhile, you can keep it up. If not, you just cancel it, and you got a little gift from Tom. So thank you so much for that, Tom. Appreciate it. And here's Michael Celli. Greetings from Tampa Bay. Carnivores unite, he says. Cliff Medina's here. Hiya, Cliff. How you doing? I'll be there then watching the debate. Yeah, we're all going to be watching that debate for the next 3 days, I'm afraid. Nick Sheeson is here. Boyd Lamb is here. Jody Drone Shots, my buddy. Spanky, Golf Addict. How are you, my friend? CB, hi. How you doing? From Alabama, Sheriff C.B. Carmack. Don Schonger is here. Nick Sheeson. I'm going to try to run through these. Say hi to people. Ellen, Scooby the Dog, how you doing? Look at the pre-party. It's hopping. Yes, it was, Ellen. That was at 7:43. That was almost 20 minutes when you made that comment before it started. Sandra McDonald, how you doing? Anyone watching the debate? Well, I would be willing to bet that somebody's got a TV on, but evidently somebody said that it doesn't start till 9, which I guess is okay. And Boyd and Nick again. Feral Grandma's here. How you doing? Sandra McDonald, got you already. Ellen, Tom. Looking forward to meeting you, Tom, on Thursday in Tampa. Tom has RSVP'd. And any of you that want to come to this, please send me an email, oldguycarnivore@gmail.com, and just that way I'll have your Gmail address in case we're forced for some reason, like a hurricane or something, to change plans. I'll be able to contact everybody. So I really would like to have the email address of everybody that's coming. And we need to know how many are coming. And Tom is going to be, Mike Celli's going to be collecting all of that information from me and from Bosworth and from Kiltz. And God, we might end up being a YouTube convention over there. We may have to rent a hotel or something. There's a lot of people over in that area that are carnivores. Ellen says, hey, Mitch, I never thought I'd be excited about a pan, but I just got my Muir. Isn't that a great pan, Ellen? And if they're on sale again, pick up a couple extras. Just put them away. They're so cheap. Doesn't pay to keep using them after they discolor or you scratch them up. Just get yourself a brand new one. Tom's saying hi to everybody. Tom and Ellen are talking. Sandra, Boyd, all the usual suspects. Richard Williams says, greetings, our supreme grumpiness. Ah, not me. I'm a pussycat. Spanky. Tina Schweikerath. Hiya, Tina. how are you? Glad you're on tonight, trying to avoid the debate, as are the rest of us. Ellen chimed in with a political comment. And so, as I don't lose half my subscribers, or maybe not half, but those that maybe don't like my political views, I'm going to try to stay out of that debate. Jerry Vodstush. Hi, Jerry from Ponte Vedra Beach. And he sent me a regrets email today that he can't make it. And Michael, you arranged this thing on Tuesday. I don't know what the deal is on the weekends, whether they could even have them, because I'm sure they're much busier at lunch on the weekends. But a lot of people still work, and he couldn't make it. He couldn't make it. Jody, Drone Shots, how you doing? Good to see you. Oscar Rodriguez is here. Good to see you. Mitch, glad to see you. Coffee in hand. Crippled Bells. That's an interesting name. How you doing, my friend? I haven't seen you before. Welcome. And Lake Girl is here. Janice Childers, I already answered a question from you. She says, hello, everyone from Lake Worth, Florida. A lot of Floridians. And here is Kay. Anyone watching the debate tonight? I'm sure somebody's going to watch it. I would imagine somebody's going to watch it. It's a dog and pony show is what it is. How many minds it's going to change, I don't know. Marilda Tuamala, how you doing? She likes the music. Glad to hear that. And are we even up to, we're not even up to 8 o'clock yet. All of this chatting was done before 8 o'clock. Susan M. says hello. Peter, Papa Carnivore is here. Thanks for letting us know. Richard Williams is here. How you doing? Laura is here. Likes the music as well. Good deal. And Kitchen Witch, 1885, feeling jazzy. Yeah, how you doing? Good to see you. Reno, Too Little from Iowa. Welcome. Seeing some new people here tonight. Coco is here. Coco is not new. Passing on the debate. Could not tolerate it for a second. I don't know who's worse, the candidates or the moderators. I just don't know. I say, I don't know how many minds are going to be changed. There's just going to be a lot of blood pressure raised. That's for damn sure. And a lot of alcohol probably consumed, as well as sugary foods consumed by the audience, trying to de-stress in any way that they can. Bill Streety, how you doing? Good to see you. And I see the same names here, and I think that's about enough of saying hello to Mark Davis chimed in about now, said, how you doing? And Mark told us again that the debate wasn't till 9. And we're represented by The Simpsons. My potential new girlfriend has 200 pairs of shoes. Should I run like... run? Is her name Imelda by any chance? Is she by any chance my ex-wife? Because that would fit. That would fit. And if she is my ex-wife, you should definitely run like hell. Coco said, what did Coco say? Zero interest in the debate. Love listening to Mitch. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I, too, look forward to it. It's one of my favorite times of the week, getting together with my friends. I love it. Good evening, everyone, says Pamela Suarez. How are you? We did have a great day, and we certainly ate meat. I had the usual today. Today was just one of those almost everyday carnivore days. Half a pound of bacon, half 5 eggs for my first meal, a pound of hamburger, 2 big patties for my second meal. That was it. That's all. That's all. I don't want any more. I don't need any more. Food is the furthest thing from my mind. And that to me is what it's all about. Food freedom. If you don't figure out how to get that food freedom, you're never going to sustain it for life. If those carbs and that sweet stuff and those cravings won't let you alone and keep nagging you, you just can't sustain it for life. The only way, you know how I feel about that, the only way to stop that is abstain from carbs completely. That's why I don't have a ton of keto people following me. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear my message. And I understand that. I understand that. Imagine if alcoholism was the same. Now we know, those of us that are carb addicts know it's a stronger addiction and harder one to kick. Primarily because it's everywhere. It's in your face day and night. You can't get away from it. It's our social life. Everything is built around it. But imagine if there were 2 different programs for alcoholics. One of them where you were allowed to have 1 ounce of alcohol a day, and the other one where you had to abstain completely. Irregardless, that's not a word. I said that, but I didn't mean to. Regardless is the word. Irregardless, believe it or not, is not a word. Regardless of whether they worked or not, that would be irrelevant for this little exercise. But if you were an alcoholic and somebody told you, we have 2 different programs for you to treat your alcoholism. One of these programs, you can have up to 1 ounce a day, but you have to measure it out. You have to be very careful not to drink more than an ounce. And the other plan requires complete and total abstinence from alcohol for the rest of your life. Which would you prefer? Which plan would you like to go on? Don't you think that 99% of alcoholics would elect the plan that lets them have an ounce of alcohol a day? Of course they would. Now, if I did the same thing with food and I said, okay, we have 2 different plans to try to help you get healthy and lose weight and sustain it for the rest of your life. One of those plans lets you eat up to 20 grams a day of that substance you're addicted to. The other one of those plans requires complete abstinence from that. Which would you rather be on? So you start looking around. You don't want to give up that food. That food, your whole life is based on that food. Everything you do is based on eating that food. You're not going to pick carnivore. You're going to pick keto. And which videos are you going to watch? You're going to watch the videos that say, finally, the best keto bread I've ever made. The best keto pizza crust I've ever. And what are you going to end up doing? You're going to be doing what that alcoholic did when he had 1 ounce of alcohol a day. You just rationalized in your own mind, your subconscious did it to you again and said, you're never going to, I'm fixing it so we never have to give up this stuff. I'm going to make you think you're doing some good, but you will not cure your addiction that way. And that's how I feel about keto, unfortunately. I think a lot of people that aren't flaming carbohydrate addicts, and not everybody is, can do well with keto as long as they keep it sane. Eat the broccoli, the Brussels sprouts, maybe a small amount of fruit if they can stop there. But if they can't stop, if those things start you binging, you have to know you're a flaming addict and you cannot do that. You have to go the abstinence route. Nobody likes the word abstinence. Not when it applies to sex, not when it applies to food. Nobody likes, the only abstinence people like is exercise. People don't mind abstaining from exercising or going to the gym. So at any rate, I don't know how I got started off on that little tangent, but that's what I do. And let me get back to Pamela, Rain Dancer. How you doing? Says hello. Anybody new here early? We're still way back near 8 o'clock. Lisa Russell is here. Steve Studley's here. How you doing, Steve? I want to run through these. Marvin Malley, hello from East Texas. Carnivore for life. 72 years young. You are a youngster. Welcome. Pardon the silence for a second. David Kane. Pork rinds, plain are my crunchy snack solution. Usually realize I need more fat when I want them to. Makes it a win-win. Yeah, you can. Some people who eat cheese can put cheese on the pork rinds. I put smoked salmon on them. I don't snack. I make them part of a meal. I make them a side dish to a meal. I've talked about digestion. I won't get into that now, but I think that snacking is not something that we're really supposed to do. I think we're supposed to eat meals, let them fully digest before we put more food in. But snacking is a way of life, and we're so used to it. You very rarely see people out in public anymore without a cellophane bag of something in their hand when they're driving or walking or whatever. Got to keep that mouth going. Got to keep chewing and swallowing all day long from the time you get out of bed until the time you get back into bed. People say, I don't know, I can't lose weight. I only eat one meal a day. Yeah, all day. Yvonne C. is here. How you doing, Yvonne? Good to see you. Tracy Clark is here. Somebody told me that Kilsey mentioned my channel on his 5 o'clock broadcast the other morning. So I said, really? I wonder what he said about me. So I ended up sitting there for a whole hour watching every minute of his 5 a.m. broadcast, and I didn't hear it. So the person that was telling me about it must have been talking about maybe one the day before. I enjoy Kilsey, but I still didn't find out what he said. Rogi to Yogi. Currently on third week of carnivore, eating 2 times based on my hunger signals. I wanted to lose weight, so after 30 days, can I go for 1 meal a day or different? Oh, wow. Okay, let me answer that. At least in my opinion. But excuse me while I take a sip of my San Pellegrino. My feelings about weight loss on carnivore are, don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Don't obsess over it. If you find yourself obsessing over it, hide your scale. At least for the first 30 days, if not the first 90 days. The goal of carnivore is to transform your physiology back to the way your machinery is supposed to run. I contend that even though it's the most effective diet on the planet to lose weight in a healthy manner, it's not a weight loss diet. It is a health regaining and recovery diet. It is a stop poisoning ourselves diet. It isn't even a diet. It's a lifestyle. The more of the old ways you try to incorporate, the more of the old results you expect to get. Like If I eat less, I'll lose more weight. Only sabotage your efforts. Screw up your metabolism and gum up the machinery. We consciously are not capable of controlling our weight while maintaining the correct health. It's not like filling a gas tank, putting more gas in, less gas in. It's about how much fuel, how many nutrients our body needs, and we need to make sure that we're getting an adequate amount. But during this transitionary period where you've been burning sugar all your life as your primary fuel, it's going to take some time for you. And it happens in every cell, individually, and in every mitochondria in every cell. Has to awaken those pathways that will burn free fatty acids instead of sugar. And that's a whole different pathway towards creating energy. Nothing good will happen to you health-wise until that conversion has happened. And that's where addictions come in. Because if you're a carb addict, generally long before that happens, the carb addiction knocks you off. The cravings get too strong. Because those people who are trying to lose weight, not only, they just simply don't eat enough food. They're worried about the amount of food they're eating. Instead of doing the things they need to do to make sure the addictions don't screw them up, and they eat enough food and get enough nutrients so that all of these cells and the mitochondria in them have all the raw materials and nutrients they need to really reawaken these fat-burning pathways. So you're double sabotaging yourself when you have the mindset that you have to have, because this is what the diet mindset is. It's been drilled into us since we were 2. Eat less, move more. There couldn't be any more destructive advice being given out. The way I finally learned how to do it after 75 years was during the first month or 2. Forget about everything except converting your body to become a fat burner. And that means not to let the cravings get you. That means whenever you get hungry, eat. And eat a lot, but eat meat. Eat meat and fat. It keeps the cravings from dragging you off to the drugstore to get ice cream. And believe me, I don't care how much you want to be a carnivore or how strong-willed you think you are, when your subconscious decides it needs sugar because it thinks it's going to die tomorrow without it, you're on your way to the drugstore with a very good excuse. And we all know those excuses. In fact, when I tell people this, they kind of chuckle because everybody identifies with this. Well, just this one more time. I'm serious about losing this weight. It's Friday. Let me just take this weekend and give it that one last hoorah. We've all done that. Where do you think that's coming from? It's not what you want to do. It's not what you've elected to do. It's what that little beastie, that animal that we are living inside us that controls everything, is feeding into your prefrontal cortex, your conscious mind. It's negotiating with you to get what it wants, and you always lose. And if you don't lose today, you'll lose tomorrow. So my advice to you, and I don't know you at all. I don't know what your history is. I don't know how much weight you have to lose. I don't know how old you are. I don't know anything about you. What I just said may not apply to you, but it did apply to me. It was why 75 years and 15 or 20 diets, I never was able to sustain weight loss for more than a month or 2. And now it's over 2 years on carnivore, and I have no cravings. They are completely in remission. And I have no weight problem. And I don't even think about it. I hardly get on the scale maybe once every couple of weeks. I can tell by looking in the mirror. My weight takes care of itself. I follow my body's cues. When I'm hungry, I eat. I very rarely get hungry. So I don't recognize hunger like I used to when it was a sugar-induced hunger, a panic hunger, a starving to death hunger, a feeling weak hunger. When you become a fat burner and transition to a carnivore lifestyle without sugar, you will never get hungry like that again. You could go a week without eating and you will not get that starving to death hunger. Seriously. Most of us have enough fuel on our body to live for months. Some of us for years. Once you understand how all that works, you understand what you're trying to do, the best thing I think that any of us can do for ourselves is to not focus on weight at all. You'll find when you get into the lifestyle, you'll eat exactly the amount of food that you need to eat and no more. Your weight will find exactly the right weight for you. Probably less than you think, believe it or not. Probably less than that goal that you've set for yourself, because your metabolism and your weight has always been gauged for a sugar burner. It's crazy. I'm 5'10". My weight settled now after 2 years of carnivore. It fluctuates between 136 and 138 pounds. That's it. That's it. I don't give it a second thought. I have never in my life, not since junior high school, weighed this little. And I don't consciously have to do anything. So I hope that answers that question. And the explanations for everything I just said and the reasons why I learned this and why I said this are going to be in that multi-video series that I just started to produce called, let me show you the thumbnail. Here's the hang on one second. Here's the chapter 3 thumbnail. Each thumbnail is going to look like this. It's going to have a different image behind it. It's not going to have me down in the lower right-hand corner, but this is the thumbnail for chapter 3. Old Guy Carnivore's Complete Carnivore Lifestyle Guide. I put 20 video chapters on it. It's probably where it's going to end up, but all of this stuff is going to change as I decide, well, this, I think I should say this first before I say that. May reorder the chapters a little. But chapter 3 is going to say, what can I eat as a carnivore? And this is going to be all about the different types of food. There's going to be a separate chapter about how to shop for this food, how to get the good deals, stuff like that. We're going to talk, it's going to be a chapter about carb addiction, but tomorrow or the next day, the intro to this series will be coming out. And in that, I'll be explaining what all the different chapters will be. And I hope this really becomes a legacy for the stuff that I've been putting out there over the past year in over 400 videos. Anyway, I hope that answers your question. Where was I? Let me do this. Ann B is here. How you doing? Good to see you. And Stan Pask, Melbourne, Australia. Melbourne. I'm in Melbourne, Florida. Sister cities. Sister cities. Welcome. Welcome. It's tomorrow. It's Stan from the future. Do you have any videos on intermittent fasting or longer fasting? Very much interested in your fasting regimen. Okay, you're going to get the whole story from me tonight, Rogi. I don't do long fasting. I think if you got hundreds of pounds to lose, that might not be a bad idea. Yet some guys like Kiltz believe in fasting. They fast all the time. they claim it's for autophagy. I fast, well, let's just say I eat 2 meals a day. I eat my first meal generally around 11 o'clock. I didn't start out with a schedule, but that just seemed to be where it fell every day, where I didn't get hungry, famished hungry, but I, got to the point where I said, well, I could eat something. I'm fairly lightweight now. I don't need to be worried about eating, so I eat a couple pounds of food a day, about 2 pounds of food, all meat and fat and eggs, fish, beef, ground beef, ribeyes. Try to eat fattier things. I eat half a pound of bacon, 5, 6 eggs a day. That's a lot of fat there. A lot of fat there. I fry stuff in bacon fat. Once a week I have a variation from the bacon, the eggs. I don't eat a ton of butter, but I'm getting adequate fat. I know that because, here's the bathroom talk. I know that because my stools are just right. Not too loose, not constipated. First time in my life, my gut actually works like it's supposed to. No fiber. Every 3-4 days, like clockwork. That's it. Fabulous. Fabulous. It's like bathroom freedom, along with the food freedom. But I eat a couple pounds of food, and I know that I need to eat a couple pounds of food because that's when I feel the best. I don't get tired. I don't get fatigued. I don't need to take naps. I sleep good. I pop out of bed every morning around 5 o'clock, 4:30 to 5:30, depending on what time I go to bed. I mean, I can't wait to get out of bed in the morning. Can you imagine that? Imagine that. If I wake up an hour too early, I go, oh, shit. I'm ready to get up when I wake up. I'm ready to go do things, get at it. I'm 77 years old. I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to get up and go, oi, everything hurts. Let me get started moving here. Let me unstiffen my stiff joint. I don't have any of that. And I had rheumatoid arthritis all over. I would get attacks of that stuff and be almost a cripple. I couldn't tie my shoes during a couple of those flare-ups that I had. All gone. Everything's gone. I wouldn't trade this for anything in the world. Certainly not for junk food, which I don't want anymore. That's why I'm so enthusiastic about this. And I believe in it so much. I've seen it for myself. It's easy to believe in something you've proven to yourself. Much tougher to believe something that you hear secondhand. Like me telling you. You'll never know it until it happens to you. And then you'll say, holy shit, Mitch was right. And again, you were all a little different. It may, exactly the way it worked for me. And you might have to fine tune it to fit in with your life and your physiology and how screwed up you've managed to get your physiology in all these years of eating the wrong stuff and maybe drinking too much alcohol. See, I was lucky I never had that problem. I never liked alcohol. But intermittent fasting, I eat my first meal at 11. I eat my second meal 4 hours later. And that's it. I'm done. At the most, I have a 6-hour eating window from the beginning of the first meal to the end of the second meal. The longest, usually it's 4 to 5 hours. That means I fast 18, 19 hours every day. I have not eaten since quarter to 4 this afternoon. I finished my burgers. And I have not had a drop of food. And I won't until probably 11:30 tomorrow. And I am never hungry, never think about food, never want anything. No urge to go to the corner store and get some ice cream or something. No urge to go stand in front of. How many of you have mindlessly, 10 times a day, find yourself standing in front of the refrigerator with the door open, and you don't even remember going to the fridge? That used to happen to me all the time. We're standing in front of the pantry, mindless, looking for something to snack on. That's the American way. That never happens to me anymore. At worst, I get a little thirsty, I go have a little water. And I agree with Kelsey on that. Is I think we drink way too much. I don't drink anywhere near 8 full glasses of water a day. Nowhere near that. I drink when I get thirsty. I may drink a third of this bottle here tonight during the live stream. A couple, 3 cups of coffee a day. That's it. And maybe a few small half glasses of water. And again, it depends on the activity level. If you're sweating up a storm all day long, too, then you're going to need some more fluids. But listen to your body. Learn to live like all the animals on this planet live. Every one of them. Every cat. Every dog. Well, forget the animals that humans feed. We screw them up. But any animal in the wild, think about it. Most of them are pretty healthy. They're at the weight they're supposed to be. They have the muscle they need to live. If they're animals that have to hunt, they can hunt. They have no conscious mind. They have no scales. They don't get blood tests. They don't think about what they eat. They don't plan their menus. They know what to eat and what not to eat. It's instinctual. We're the same. We're built the same way. We come from them. When we get back to that, to letting that animal in us decide what it needs to be healthy, because it knows. It's in our genetics and epigenetics. If it wasn't, we never would have survived. Our ancestors would never have made it, and we wouldn't be here. We know what we need. We're just outsmarting it all the time and addicting it. For the first time in my life, it took me this long to turn control of all of that back over to this animal part of me that lives inside of me, that is me. All the machinery, all the organs, all the blood vessels, the breathing, the heartbeat, hormone regulation. Every bodily function is not controlled consciously. It's all on autopilot. And that autopilot sends us messages constantly, letting us know what it needs us to do. If we need to run, we feel fear. We feel a need to run. If we need to sleep, we feel tired. If we need to eat, we get hungry. If we need fluids, we get thirsty. We call them urges. But what they are is basically just that animal controlling all the machinery, driving us into getting it what it needs. And when it becomes completely reliant on sugar just to live day to day, which is what has happened to us, that animal inside of us will ensure that we obey and give it the sugar it needs. And it does so with cravings, which are just a form of an emotional signal, because that's what emotion is. Emotion is the subconscious brain's way of telling your conscious mind it needs something or you need to do something. Somehow in our arrogance, we have decided that we are smarter than that. We've separated from animals. We're not animals anymore. That's coming from religions mostly. Watch the news on TV. Watch home invasions, carjackings, genocides, wars. Tell me how superior human beings are to a pack of lions that have order, know their role, and do the things that need to be done to survive without all the foolishness that in our supposed genius, we managed to layer on top of the things we really need to do. And in my estimation, carnivore is the closest we'll ever get to that natural way of living. And it's tough to do in a society like we have. Looks like we're losing a few people to the debate, down to about 85 now, but that's good. I'll take it. I'll take it. I would like to see thousands of you out there listening to me, but not that big a deal yet. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Let's check out the questions. QQQ in the chat here. Let's see. We have, where to go? We go back up to the top of the chat. Mark Davis, did you mention the 12-inch pan? Well, I bought two of them. That's all your fault. Two. Are you seeing the millions from me yet? Yeah, Mark. Yeah, Mark. I have. I appreciate. Listen, buddy, you've been a good friend to me, and I appreciate all that. Thank you. Thank you. Let me do something here. Hang on one second. Close that out. Okay. Next question. Mitch, tell us the name of the Tampa restaurant for the meetup and the date, please. Coco, yes, it is. And I don't have the address now, but you're going to be hearing the address many times. It's the Terra Gaucho Brazilian Steakhouse. Terra Gaucho Brazilian Steakhouse on Dale Mabry, Mabry, in Tampa. Pretty close to Interstate 75, if I remember Tampa. I think Dale Mabry runs north and south. But, yeah. 2 weeks from today, Tuesday the 24th, today's the 10th, at 11:30. And I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a good time. Bodzod, please put QQQ before your question. So what did I miss? Did I miss a question from somebody named Bodzod? Bodxod. Strange spelling. I don't see it there. Mama Cracker. Ellen says, we have a birthday lady. Mama Cracker. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Patty, how you doing? Happy birthday. I'd sing, but I'd lose the rest of you that I have watching. So I'm sorry, I won't do that to you. And everybody's wishing her a happy birthday. Sherry Morgan's here. Hi, Sherry. Good to see you. Wishing Patty a happy birthday. Everybody. Ellen wants to know where Pamela Suarez is from. Hi, where are you from? We have Lori Weitzel here. Good to see you. Coco says, Mitch, thank you. I got it. Let's check out. See if I got any more QQQs in here. That's it. Nobody's got questions. So ask some questions in the meantime. I really don't have a whole lot to talk about tonight. You know, I've been busy. I'll just take a look at the chat and just chime in with you guys. Pamela Suarez lives in the British Virgin Islands. Oh, man. Watch out for those storms down there. But it's gorgeous. Gorgeous. I love that. I love those islands. You guys are all talking to each other. I feel like I'm butting into your party. Talking about Sherry's guinea pigs. Oh, those are the cutest things. Sherry had the guinea pigs in our Thursday live stream last week. It was ladies' night. We had a good time. We had a good time. We had the ladies sitting in their little windows chatting away. They called it my harem. And I see most of you guys are here tonight too. I'm just reading. Here's one. Oh, here it is, Boxside. Question. All right, found it. Out of all the benefits from eating carnivore, what would you say is the most significant? Mental focus and clarity or physical benefits? Yes. I love to do that. People think I'm being snide, but the answer is yes. Everything. If I had to say what's the best benefit, I'd be hard pressed. I'd be hard pressed. The mental clarity at my age compared to many other people my age is incredible. Probably the sharpest I've ever been. My brain just works. And considering I had brain surgery 3 years ago, I never thought, I didn't have brain damage. I did have a subdural hematoma. I've told that story many times. My brain on the left side was compressed almost an inch. I had strange symptoms and memory loss and aphasia, loss of balance. And they cut my head open and they took that out, stitched me back up. Right over on this side. You can see the scar there. I showed everybody last week a picture of my scar. And it was very impressive. I looked like a baseball, the way they stapled me up. And I thought I was never going to be right again. I thought, oh, well, all right, Mitch, you're 70. I was 74 when that happened. You're 74 years old. You overdid it in the gym. You passed out, stayed in the sauna too long, got dehydrated over, heat exhaustion, whatever it was, hit my head. And I said, well, at least I made it to 74. I'm probably going to be semi-handicapped the rest of my life. Well, sure enough, I started carnivore just about a year after that surgery, after I'd recovered from it. I'd been keto most of my life, so I wasn't in bad shape, and I wasn't really too overweight. But I still had the arthritis. I still had the other things wrong with me. And it took me almost a year to fully recover from the brain, from that injury, till my balance completely restored. But after 2 years on carnivore, I got to tell you, it's as if it never happened to me. I've never felt healthier, more energy, sharper in my entire life. But the one thing that's, to me, and I talked about it already tonight, that's most noticeable, the biggest change, not just the weight, not the fact that I weigh 136.7 pounds, which is, everybody tells me I'm too skinny, but I don't feel too skinny. I still have a little love handles. I still have some fat around, a little padding, subcutaneous fat. I have enough energy stored on me to keep me going for a while. I'm not like cancer skinny or anything, or anything like that. I've got an adequate amount of muscle, but I stopped working out heavy, trying to build muscle. I'm at my age, I want the muscle that I need and make sure that I can still do 20 push-ups. I can still do 25 to 50 deep knee bends and squats. I can, do pull-ups. As long as I can still do those things, and I do them every second or third day. I do a couple sets of each just to tune it up. I don't need the huge muscles. I was trying for that 3 or 4 years ago, but I don't need it. It's energy burning stuff that I don't need to have on me. And I've settled into what I think is the best health of my life. And it's going to be interesting. And you guys are invited along for the ride to watch. That's why I did this. I said, hell, I'm the oldest guy with a regular carnivore YouTube channel. Oh, some old guys pop in and out every once in a while with a video, but nobody comes along with a video every day that's my age, keeps coming up with this stuff, does live streams. Sean Baker keeps talking about how old he is, and I'm 20 years older than him. I'm 22 years older than Ken Berry. I'm 35 years older than Anthony Chafee, maybe more. Nobody's up there with me. I figured that was a great thing. People would be interested because we're all going to get old. Wouldn't it be nice to say, wow, look what this guy did, and he's 90 now. He's 95, and he's still on YouTube. That's what I need to do, and that's what I want to show you. And if it kills me, you'll learn that too. As far as I'm concerned, I'm happy. I'm doing what I'm doing. The chips are going to fall where they may, and I'm going to make it simple and easy and the no-brainer that it is, the way I've got it set up now. So I lost sight of the question, but you asked me what I think was the biggest benefit, the mental sharpness or the physical things. The physical things, all my arthritis went away. All my pain went away. My eczema that I had on my elbows and skin went away. My back, which has bothered me all my life, stopped hurting. My blood pressure normalized. My eyesight is getting better. My hair is turning darker. I mean, it's crazy to think. It's crazy to think. Look, I don't know if you saw this before. I'm 77 years old. Look at my hair color. That's natural. I don't dye my hair. Look, 77. It was 2 years ago, I had much more gray than this. Can you imagine? It feels like this is making me younger. Now I'm still getting older. I see the wrinkles. I still have some loose skin. Yes, of course. But my skin is clearer. I seem to have more softer skin, more of a, I don't want to use the term glow to it, but that people who see me tell me that I'm looking younger. People that have known me for a while, after they tell me I'm too skinny. And I look at them and they're too fat, so I figure it's just sour grapes. And we as a society are changing because we're used to seeing mostly bigger people now. That has become normal. So if you're at a normal weight from 50 or 60 years ago, where I remember that 137 pounds was considered normal for a man 5'10". Now it's 167 pounds. But my BMI is still high, is still around 20, and the actual charts that you find don't characterize me as underweight. I'm at the lower end of the scale, but I also have very, very light frame, thin bones, thin wrists. Don't have huge, broad shoulders. I've never been a really big guy, other than a big middle. So I hope that answered that question for you. All of the benefits. The greatest benefit that makes it so easy is the food freedom and the fact that my cravings don't bother me anymore. That is what really, really makes it just a joy. But it's all good. It's all good. Sherry, thank you, Sherry. Appreciate that. Out of all your careers you have experienced, which one was your favorite? Thank you. Oh, wow. For those of you, and most of you in here have heard my life story so many times. The one I was most successful at was the computer business. And it was my longest lasting career. So I would have to say that owning the company and being the boss, having the big office, not having to answer to anybody other than my customers, and my suppliers, and the government, and the IRS, but not having to be supervised minute by minute. The freedom I had there was fabulous. I had great employees. I didn't have to punch a clock. I could come and go as I pleased. At the time, I had all my toys. I had airplanes. I had my big boat. I could, if I wanted to take off for a week. We had cell phones, even though they were the earlier versions of cell phones back then. The little flip phones. The trend that back in those days was the phones kept getting smaller every year, and they came up with this tiny little one, which they made fun of on TV. Like, I remember Saturday Night Live had these guys with these little tiny cell phones. Now the trend went the other way. Now we got bricks. But if I wanted to take off on a boat for a week, I could do it. The business would run without me for a week. As long as I was there to sign the paychecks, I think they were happier when I was gone. I think that was my favorite. I think had the restaurant not happened at exactly the wrong time, that ended up timing itself exactly with the 2008 real estate crash. And our restaurant was in a big, brand new, beautiful development in Orlando. Disney-like. It was gorgeous lakefront setting. Supposed to have all kinds of gorgeous apartments and condominiums and homes in this huge, what used to be a naval base. They made a whole pre-planned little city out of it. Kind of like Celebration in Disney. And then the 2008 crash happened and everybody in there went broke. They couldn't sell the houses. They didn't build the condos they were supposed to build. They didn't build the parking lots over there. And here I'm sitting with a restaurant. Customers couldn't park anywhere. The people that were supposed to live there and be our customers never materialized. It was just, nobody could have survived that, and I didn't. But it was fun. I was really looking forward to it. The only problem with Sherry, if I had been in the restaurant, you wouldn't see old guy Carnivore here today. You'd see some 400-pound guy who owned a restaurant and loved the food. So in reality, I think I might not even be alive today had I continued in that business. Because it was, again, it just revolved around food and eating. And we made the best key lime pie on the face of the earth, and I had to have it every day. So I think I never would have lived this long had I lived that lifestyle instead of the one that I ended up. So my philosophy is it's an adventure no matter how you live it. And it comes and goes so fast and means so little and is so insignificant in the scheme of things and the scope of the universe. And we all take it so seriously. We take ourselves so seriously, and I'm just as guilty as everybody else of that. I said this morning in my thing, stop, slow down, relax, smell the roses. I never used to be that way. Those are the lessons I'm learning now, the things that are really important. It's not the boats, it's not the airplanes, it's not all that shit. The health, it's feeling good, having energy, especially as you get older. And the one regret we all have is that we didn't start much younger. So when I see some of these younger viewers, come on. Hi, Mitch, I'm 34 years old. I just started Carnivore. I lament, I say, wow, had I only discovered this, God knows what my life would have been like. To be free of this constant preoccupation with food that's bad for me. We carnivores don't seem to be too preoccupied with food. It's amazing. As a carnivore YouTuber, you get a little preoccupied with food because that's what you're talking about, and I'm making recipes and I'm showing you how to cook. But the actual amount of thought and time I put into preparing the food and cooking and shopping for myself is nothing. It's nothing. I could do a week's worth of shopping. I could be done in 20 minutes. And that includes the ride to Sam's Club and back. There are times, honestly, I mean, where I've left the house here at 7:45 and been home by 8:15 from Sam's Club. It's a 5-minute ride. Spent 5-10 minutes tops in the store running around, going just for the few items that I need. Normally, I spend no more than 5 or 10 minutes cooking a meal, unless I'm making a video and talking about everything. But if I'm not talking and not making a video, man, it's cooked in 10, 15 minutes tops, and it's cleaned up in 2 minutes most of the time. It's the easiest, no-brainer of a way to live. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. And I'll keep preaching this until they fire me, throw me off, delete my channel, or I die. Why would I not want to do this? Even though some people are really crazy. And I don't get too many ridiculous comments anymore. I still get some silly things, but kind of learned to just not take them seriously. Too many compliments and good people out there to offset the lunatics. Boxside says, this is not a question, but thank you for your answer, and I hope you live to be at least 240. Oh, man, I don't know about that. I don't know if I want to, but thank you. Thank you. Not likely, but thank you. You know, James Earl Jones just died. He was 94. Who else died? Somebody famous died yesterday or day before. In their 90s. In their 90s. And we look at them like, wow, they lived a long time. It shouldn't be that way. 94 should not be old. Should not be dying yet. 110 maybe. We'll see. Now, as far as me, I don't know how much irreversible damage I did to my body over all those years that I basically poisoned it. I may have affected my longevity. Who knows? Who knows? If you understand genetics and you know what telomeres are, we all have a built-in clock. The length of the telomeres on our chromosomes, that with each division gets shorter and shorter until we get to a point where the cell dies. That's where all this anti-aging research is going, this quest for immortality, especially among the the wealthier, especially among the billionaires of the world who think that they can become immortal. And everybody's got a scheme about that. I don't know if I'd want it. I don't know if I'd want it anyway. Sherry, another one. I see down here somewhere another question and a little super chat. Thank you so much. Always appreciated. What would you say to your kids if they didn't believe you about the mental health benefits from carnivore? Kids in their 20s, thank you. It's an interesting question, Sherry. Both of my kids are in their 50s. Ooh, kind of scary to even say that. Two of my grandkids are in their 20s now. Wow. Hard to believe. They don't need to be, my kids don't need to be told about my mental sharpness. They see it every day. They've seen me come through horrible times of losing businesses, crazy, ridiculous marriage breakups with a bipolar ex. They've seen me in despair, close to, I talked about this, close to saying, why bother anymore, you know. And they've seen me always try to be healthy. They've seen me on diets all my life. And they've seen me pretty mentally sharp. I had to have been to learn all the things I've learned and run these businesses and learn all these complex different things about so many different things. They see me now. They know that I've never been any sharper than I am right now, and they completely believe in carnivore. They just can't do it because my daughter is such an addict and is in a stressful business that she owns. That's her. She doesn't drink. She doesn't like alcohol. Took after me on that count, but took after me on the carb addiction, that's for sure. My son finds his stress relief in alcohol, but he can do carnivore. I've talked to them about it. They know everything they need to know. They just never win when it's a battle of their will against their subconscious, like I've talked about. I see it in action all the time in my own children. I've looked back on my life retrospectively and can pinpoint all of those things happening that now I explain why. So I know for sure that what I say is true, and I guess I wrote a book 22 years ago, Taming the Beast Within, and think about the title. Think about the name of the book, then you know what it's about. Taming the Beast Within. It's about living with that animal brain in us that's guiding everything we do and controlling everything, whether we like to think it is or not. And having written that book and having been thinking about this since I was a young man, I'm researching these things and trying to figure out what behaviors was it in our ancient ancestors that eventually evolved into these behaviors in us today. And I learned all that stuff, and to me it makes perfect sense. Which is why I know how futile it is to fight it. And it's a weakness. And the only way we ever can fix it is to acknowledge that weakness and then learn some techniques and steps that might work where we can, for once, outsmart that beast that's within us. And I've come up with those things. It took me a lot of years, but finally, at the young age of 75, I had a aha moment about how to put that carb addiction to bed, and it worked. And that's what I talk about in my videos about the first 30 days, the most important 2 rules. And I know those things work, and I know that they've worked for other people because so many of you have told me that for the first time you were actually able to sustain something like this until and sustain it long enough for your own physiology to heal itself and start burning the fat, not the sugar. Once you do that, once you start burning the fat and not the sugar, after a while, maybe a month or 2, that beast in you, hard-headed as it is, finally gets the message that there is no longer an urgent need for sugar. So it quits bugging you with cravings. It's as simple as that. When you're running on sugar and you consider the fact that you can only store 1 day's worth of sugar. And I'm going to give you an analogy. I want to compare it to something brand new in the human experience that didn't exist 10 years ago. And it has to do with electric cars. And the phenomenon that I'm talking about is something called range anxiety. Have any of you ever heard of range anxiety? I'm sure some of you have. If you haven't, it's a real thing. You buy yourself an electric car. It has a range of 230 miles. You know that there are very few places along the road to charge up an electric car. You also know that you might have to sit for an hour. You might have to wait in line to charge up your electric car. It's not like a gas station where there's one on every street corner and you can just pull in and fill up in 5 minutes and be gone. And you can find them anywhere, unless you're in the middle of Texas somewhere out on the way to El Paso. And even then there's gas stations. But electric cars, you have to always be thinking ahead to make sure that they are adequately charged to get you where you want to go. And if you happen to run into any kind of an unforeseen situation, like you made it to the charging station that the map told you, and you got there, and every charger was inoperative, and now you've got a car and you're stuck. And the drivers of these electric cars, when they venture anywhere away from home, worry like hell about getting stuck with their electric car because of the complete and total lack of adequate infrastructure. Imagine you were trying to evacuate before a hurricane with the roads clogged up like hell, and you have an electric car. You're only gone so far, and you're going to be stuck. And your air conditioning isn't going to work, and it may be 100 degrees outside. You will get very worried and very anxious, and that is a very common thing. It's what keeps me from even considering an electric car. Not at the current state of them. It's called range anxiety. Google it. You'll see. It is a thing. This range anxiety that we feel when venturing out in the great unknown with our electric car, and the odds of getting stuck without a place to charge it up are pretty high, is the same anxiety your brain feels when you're a sugar burner. Now, you don't consciously feel it, But your brain knows it. Your brain is monitoring the amount of fuel in your body. And you can only store 1 day's worth of sugar in your body, period. 1 day. You fill up your muscles with glycogen and your liver, and that's it. Your subconscious mind knows you've got all this fat on you, but your insulin is through the roof. That hormone insulin has shut the doors on your fat cells. You're in fat storage mode. You're in the mode to turn sugar into fat and put it away. It won't let you burn that fat for energy. More than likely, you've forgotten how as well. Your brain is constantly having range anxiety. How am I going to get through the next day? I better charge it up. And car owners will charge their car at any opportunity to extend the range because they know it's not going to get real far before it runs out of battery. So if you happen to not even, maybe you got 3/4 of a charge, but you happen to drive by a charging station and you got a few extra minutes, you would probably stop there and top it off because you're worried. The next charging station may be out of order, or it may have a long line or something where you can't charge. And that's how our brains work when we run on sugar, when we have a limited range, 1 day supply. We are always urged to top it off, which means constantly snacking and eating sugar, period. And that is the greatest analogy I can think of because it's exactly the same thing. Now, when you're a fat burner and your brain learns or gets used to the fact that this is not just a flash in the pan, that's the way you default now to burning the fat, and your insulin finally recovers and gets low. Anyway, let me get you off the screen here, Shari. Thanks so much for that. I appreciate it. I hope I answered your question. But and how I got off into this, I don't know, but this is just how I go. It just comes out. I have a thought, and when you become a fat burner and your brain learns it, and everybody pretty well accepts the fact that it takes like 30 days to get a habit and 30 days to lose a habit. Well, that's because our brains just need to see something to prove to themselves, okay, that was a flash in the pan. This is the way it's really going to be. And once your brain accepts the fact that you're really going to be a fat burner, and at the same time that you're becoming a fat burner, of course, you're not eating the sugar, and hopefully your pancreas is calming down, and since you're not eating the sugar, it's not injecting that much insulin. So pretty soon your hyperinsulinemia will lower. And when you get normal fasting insulin levels, the cell doors on your fat cells spring open like in a prison and say, you need fat, you need energy, you need fuel, come and get it. We got it here, and we're open for business. And that's all function of insulin. So it's a vicious cycle. Your brain demands you eat the sugar because it knows you're a sugar burner. While you're in sugar burning mode, it knows to store away as much excess sugar as you can cram down your throat as fat, which is the normal function of like a bear gorging on honey before the winter to put that fat away to hibernate. Unfortunately, we don't need to keep putting all that fat away, but that's the way we're built. That's what our chemistry does. So we're either in fat storage mode or fat burning mode. We never allow ourselves to get into fat burning mode because we are consuming nothing but too much sugar. So we're always in fat storage mode. So all of these things work against us, which is why we can't lose weight. without torturing ourselves because our brains are panicking. They're throwing cravings at us. It's all we can think about. We feel so deprived, so bad. And our brains are saying, if you don't get some sugar into me now, we're not going to be around tomorrow. I don't care how much fat you have in your 350-pound body. The insulin in your bloodstream will not allow those cells to open their doors. And I'm sorry, I'm the brain. I have no control over what happens at that cellular level. That is a function of which and what the level of the hormones are that are in the blood. That's what controls it. That level is controlled by some other organ, the pancreas. Our brain isn't controlling all of these things individually. Each cell is an autonomous living thing. It gets its instructions from hormones, the level of hormones, the presence of hormones. It's all on autopilot. One system that affects a hormone affects everything else affected by that same hormone. It's just elegant, yet simple in concept. I understand how all this works, and it's not a, it's also, everything is just so intertwined. Sometimes it's hard to explain. And the guys are complimenting the girls, and it's like I walked into a bar tonight. Hey, good guys. Wow, it's 9:45. So I imagine they're debating, everybody's debating, and I haven't seen any, I don't imagine, it doesn't look like any of you guys are watching the debates. I've still got 100 people in here, so that's good. I'm keeping an eye on the chat. Even the girls are complimenting each other. And you two, you're both right. You're both right. Let me tell you something. I'm very proud of my community. I love my community. I love you guys. You guys are great. And I've got some good-looking people in my community, too. It's a shame you got to put up with me. I'm looking around. Tesla Smart Summit is pretty nice. You guys are talking about Teslas. One of these days, I think electric cars will be viable. Electric backup power for a house is becoming viable. I know I just picked up these backup power supplies, which are amazing. I mean, they're not really huge, but they'll run a refrigerator or a freezer for a day. And I got a little solar panel, which will extend that out to 3 or 4 days if the sun is shining. The technology in batteries is improving all the time. They'll be getting away from lithium. They're getting into some sodium batteries now, which is just salt, I guess. But technology in the long run can solve so many problems. So I don't think, for me, I don't go anywhere anymore. The only reason that I wouldn't get an electric car, well, they just cost more than gas cars. Because even if I had an electric car with a 150-mile range, I don't ever drive 150 miles in one day anywhere. You just plug it in at home, charge it up. I would never have a need to charge it on the road. When I go to see my daughter, that's 150 miles each way. So I would need, if I wanted to have an electric car, I would need one with at least maybe a 350-mile range, which most of them don't have near that range, because when they give you range numbers, it's under perfect conditions. And nothing's ever perfect, But in 5 years, with new battery technologies, more efficient motors and everything else, there'll be electric cars that'll have 600 mile ranges, which in that case would make them much more useful. But we're stuck with gas for quite a while, and there's nothing wrong with a gasoline powered car. I think that when you think about how much energy you get out of a gallon of gasoline, it's amazing. It's an amazing amount of energy wrapped up in that gasoline. So, but I keep an eye on it. I'm fascinated by the technology. I watch the YouTube videos of some of these more knowledgeable electric car channels, and if I happen to go to the car dealership to get my car serviced over at the Kia dealer, they're pretty well ahead or doing some good. Them and Hyundai are doing some really neat things with electric cars, and I like to look at them. I've never driven one yet, but I'm afraid to, because I probably end up driving it home, unfortunately, and I don't want it yet. Don't want it yet. Let me go down the bottom of the chat. Think about wrapping this up. DLC, hi Mitch, just left the gym. Now at BJ's buying a large pack of boneless thin pork chops, Yum 65, and getting healthier every day. Congratulations, my friend. Very, very good. Sherry Morgan says she's restoring her 2005 BMW Z4. Yeah, wow. Wow. That's cool, Sherry. That's an ambitious project. The problem with these German cars, I've owned a number of Mercedes. And I had a 500 SL convertible. What a maintenance nightmare those German cars are. If it isn't timing chains, I've had some of the weirdest stuff go on. I've had Hyundais and Kias for the last 16, 17 years. Never had not a single thing break on them. And they cost a third what the Mercedes is. It's a good thing, too, because I can't afford the Mercedes anymore. I wouldn't buy one even if I could afford it. Not with the trouble I had. I could write a book about that. Steve Studley says, you love this community for sure. I do too, man. I do too. You guys, and the more we get together, and especially the more of you I meet on Thursday night in the private community live streams, the better I like it. It's great. Last week was great. I got to meet two new ladies that I hadn't met before, and missed one that I did, Ellen. Stan Pask. Stan Pask. Question, Mitch, did you put out a video on installing the solar panel on YouTube? No, I haven't. I haven't done that yet. I didn't install it. The solar panel that I got is a portable one. It folds up into, I should make a video about that. It's a 220 watt panel. And it folds up into 4 panels and into a little carrying case. And it's so easy to see. You just take it out of the carrying case, open it up. It's got little feet behind it, and you can lean it back at any angle, and you plug it in. You plug it into the EcoFlow, and you see I've got 2 of them now here. These are both fully charged. I could run this whole setup on one of these for about 4 hours. The entire computer system here, all the monitors, the computers, everything, all the infrastructure. It's incredible. But you plug it in, just plug it into that, and that little freezer out in my shed averages about 100 watts an hour, but it does shut on and off. And when you got a couple 100 watts coming in on solar, you could run it indefinitely as long as you get sunny days. You charge it up during the day, it would fully charge it. Certainly last through the night. So I'd be good on that. I have a little gas generator, a cheap one, a little Harbor Freight Predator, 2,000 watt, which I could just use to charge up these battery ones and then use them in the house without having to run this thing outside all day or night. Because anything I'd need to power up in the house, a refrigerator or anything like that, if I had an extended power failure, I could use these battery backup ones. And I bought them for less than $500. They were on sale. I told you all about them. And I think, not that I have that many power failures, but I have had them. And they were very inconvenient. And although there's not enough power, certainly not enough power, even with my gas generator to run any air conditioning, I can certainly run a few floor fans and keep the air moving. And that's all I need. It keeps it cool enough where it's bearable, at least. So listen, folks, listen, guys. That's a good idea, though. I probably should. I'm not really in the solar business. The only reason I even got into that was to make sure my food was protected in case something happened. And that was the tie-in to Carnivore. But I don't really particularly want to start doing solar backup generator reviews and solar panel reviews. I don't intend to try to fix it so I can actually live off grid. There's a lot of guys doing it, and the technology there is changing. It's great. It's great. So before everybody just goes away on their own, let me thank everybody for coming in. Thank you so much, guys. It was great to see you. Thank you, Cherie and Mark, for the super chats. Always, always appreciated. Everybody's saying good night. Thank you all for coming. Try not to get too aggravated about what happened with the debate, and we'll all have to sweat it out for the next few months and see what happens to our country. I think we've got a lot of smart people here. Don't need to be told what to do. So let me bring in a little traveling music here. Always travel on the blues. I love it. Makes me smile. I had a good time tonight, guys. Thanks for putting up with me for a couple hours. I'll see you Thursday night, everybody in the private community. I'll see you Saturday afternoon for the whole world that wants to watch. Look out for my morning coffee video tomorrow. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, but something will come up. And with that being said, my friends, glad you enjoyed it. Glad you were chatting up a storm. For now, take the rest of the day off and eat meat.